Hey guys, welcome back to another week of e-commerce marketing chats with myself, Charles, and Jimmy. Jimmy, how's it going, mate? All right?
Yeah, good. Good to be back. So it is good to be back actually, because I have missed the last couple of weeks. So for those that don't know, we film this show at night. But lately, I've got three kids now, so the time that we usually film, it's just been mayhem, and I've been putting one of my kids to bed at some point. So we've moved it back even later, so to accommodate for my kids hopefully being asleep, which is the case tonight, and yeah, we'll get filming. But I think today I'm going to go back to my roots and be talking a bit about Google Ads, and I think Charles has got some things for us to discuss too. So this week, Charles, I haven't even told you this yet, but so I ran a workshop through an e-commerce community. The workshop was on Google Ads, so it's basically the fundamentals to get running and what to look out for when you're starting out to not waste a whole bunch of money. So there was 41 people on the call when I ran it live, and even more that had signed up and downloaded the replay. I even had a few people messaging me on LinkedIn, and I was like, "What are you doing? Like looking at a fundamental like Google Ads kind of course?" They're like, "Oh, I haven't touched Google Ads in a couple of years. I thought I'd skip." They didn't know that I was running it. So yeah, the person who was running it for the e-commerce community has quite a good, I guess, following. So I was presenting it more to his audience, and there just happened to be more people in it than I was anticipating. But yeah, I was reminded again today that if you get the fundamentals right on Google Ads, you're just playing on easy mode. So I was looking at an account today, and it had like a 33 return on ad spend, and cost per acquisition was like $1 to $2 per sale. And when I look at accounts like that, I'm like, oh, that can't be right. There must be some problems with the tracking. So I go into the tracking and there's no problems. And I said to them, do these numbers look accurate? They're like, yeah, that's kind of the revenue that we did this month. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are playing on easy mode, aren't you? And he's like, yeah. So and they're like, I'm coming on for a health check of their account with them now. Even in the best performing accounts, there's still some little tweaks that you can make to improve things, or like to milk those last dollars. But I always say to people, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, sure, there's some little optimizations that you can do, but nothing that I would have recommended to them would have been like a massive, big strategic change or this or that. It's just, hey, you guys have done the fundamentals really well. If you want to juice every last bit out of it, I would recommend, like, they had a lot of brand traffic in their campaigns too. I'm like, so let's segment that out into its own campaign, reduce the cost there to, drive in further return on ad spend, and then just potentially segment out their best sellers as well into their own campaigns too. So yeah, from the Google Ads side, um, yeah, I might just talk a little bit about what was covered in the workshop, some fundamentals, and what people can get from that. And then, obviously, you've probably noticed this week, Charles, I've been commenting, like tagging you in some of the posts that I see for like the automated workflows that are coming for SEO. These ones really. So, well, there's automated. I shouldn't say just SEO. There's automated workflows coming for everything, but I think I've noticed this week a lot more SEO ones popping up in my field. So, or in my view, sorry. So keen to know if you're testing anything or what's happening in the SEO space as well. So might I know you had a few things that you want to discuss too, Charles. So what's on the cards for you, and then we'll balance it and pick what to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, I get just on that the AI. There's a lot going on at the moment. Um, I'm I'm actually looking at getting a secondary laptop because I'm a little bit, from a security perspective. Um, there's a lot where I'll just download this, you know, tool that gives the AI third party access to your, all your files, your desktop. So I'm a little bit probably coming from having invested a bit in crypto myself. I kind of know the how important security is. Um, And so I'm a little bit reluctant to kind of start testing these tools out on my primary laptop. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is buying a secondary laptop just
That's not a
purely to
bad
have
idea,
like
actually.
AI agents like running. So I can basically, the only thing that's going to be done on that laptop is going to be like building up my like kind of AI workforce and just testing out, you know, different softwares like Claude Cowork and various other, you know, I've seen, was it, uh, what's the other one that was popping up recently?
Claude
Something,
Bot's popping at the moment,
yeah,
definitely.
that's the
But
one.
I
Yeah, which
actually,
has
I
been
actually want to.
rebranded, isn't it, to Maltbot or something?
Oh, has it
I
really? I
think.
didn't know that. But
Yeah, yeah,
I wanted to do for those that are watching on YouTube. I wanted to do a screen share because I actually saw this meme and I thought it's hilarious. So I might read it out to the people that are listening to this on Shopify or whatnot. But it's called so it's a chat with essentially the user and Claude Bot, and it says in the user said to Claude Bot, "Hey, did anything weird happen while I was out?" And then Claude Bot says, "Define weird." It says, "I just got a charge for $2,997. Oh, that. I signed us up for Build Your Personal Brand Mastermind after analyzing 3 Alex Hormozi clips. The ROI math checks out. You'll 10x that investment in 90 days by monetizing your expertise at scale." And then the reply was, "What?" And then he says, "I also acquired a premium domain name for $4,200. Premium domain names convert 37% better. You're welcome."
yeah. Well, that's a prime. I don't know whether that's just that. Yeah, whether that's probably just satire meme, but you could. It's probably not far off the truth, is it? Like potentially, um, if you give it obviously access, yeah, to certain things. But um, yeah, I do think with these things you do have to be careful from a security perspective before you just dive in and just, yeah, because the reality is most of us, we don't check the terms and conditions, do we? We just go ahead, oh yeah, let's just sign up. Um, so yeah, I think that's probably the one thing that's why I would suggest probably if you want to kind of test these things out, buy a cheap secondary laptop and then just use that for doing all the testing. So once I'm kind of deciding on what laptop that is, I'll let you know and start, because I do really want to start testing these things out. They do look great in terms of, you know, the workflow of what you could optimize, because there's much of e-commerce SEO which is, you know, mundane, long grunt work, which can definitely be automated and doesn't necessarily need my time to sit down and do that, you know, manually. One of the other things I've been focusing on this week actually for a client was, and yeah, this is a really good backlink strategy, but only if you sell other branded products. So effectively, you know, you might be a drop shipper, and you're selling, say you're a supplement brand and you're selling various supplement brands within your store. Many of these suppliers or manufacturers, they have, you know, a stockist page or find a stockist page or find a dealer. This was for an ultimate build client that I was working on, and I found that there was like, from the 100 or so brands that one of my clients was selling, probably about 90 of those manufacturer brands have like find a dealer page where it showcases all the brands that sell their products. And my client wasn't on many of these pages. So it was a very quick win to get a profile on there with a backlink pointing to their website. So I basically just did the research on that this week, established the opportunities, and then I'm kind of working with my client for them to reach out and actually try and get that link, because it's much more powerful coming from them doing the outreach than it is for me trying to do it as their SEO agency.
Yeah.
So obviously you do, you know, they need to be proactive in doing that, and I also work with them to make sure that that's achieved. But that's, you know, that's arguably, even if out of those 90 or so we can get 10 or 20. That's 10 or 20 highly relevant backlinks that for free, which they wouldn't have got previously. So if you are a store and you are selling multiple brands, have a look at trying to execute that type of strategy. See if the manufacturers, the suppliers that you work with have a find a stockist page or a find a dealer page, and see if you can get a profile on their website.
Yeah, that's a good call. And it's funny you're talking about kind of stores that sell other people's brands, because the Google Ads account that I was just talking about earlier that had a really good kind of return on ad spend, this was an account that essentially sold other people's brands. And the reason they were playing on easy mode, like this was, I was looking at it, I'm like, far out, this is, doing really well. But the brands that they were selling had done all the advertising for them. Like, in terms of the brands that were on this person's website, they were all over socials, they were all over everything. Like, you'd know them if you were looking for this particular product. And these guys are just kind of swooping in on all that traffic and buying it for so cheap and like converting at a really high rate. And yeah, it's, if you're looking, sometimes when people get into the e-commerce space, they're trying to reinvent the wheel. They're trying to create a product that no one's ever seen before, and they're the brands that just take forever to get off the ground, even if they ever do. If you want to play on easy mode, just start selling products that people already know that have good margins from the people that make them. So yeah, that's yeah, I haven't, to put it this way, I haven't seen an account like that for a while. It's rare that I go in there and see conversions that are that cheap, and at that volume. Like, we're not talking small volume either. That it was a couple of $100,000 a month in revenue. So yeah, selling other people's products. They had good margins. They just had a good business. But I look at that and then I compare it to Charles, maybe a client that we've worked on at some stage together. It's a product that no one's ever heard of, and the education phase for that product is enormous. And the only key words they're like converting on is their brand name from the tiny exposure that they do have. And we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a month now. We're talking about maybe a couple of thousand, and that's the it's just it's mind blowing, and you see it a lot. You see founders go all in on something that they think is a good idea, but they haven't proven the market for it. Sometimes it's heartbreaking. Like, some families send their families broke because they've just tried this and it doesn't work out. And then you've got other people playing on easy mode, just letting the businesses that they're selling do all the hard lifting for them in terms of advertising, getting the brand name out there and all that, and then just capitalizing on that. It's yeah, it's an interesting space we play in, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's always easy when you've got the right product market fit, isn't it? It's that kind of
makes a world of difference.
Yeah, it's if you're trying to sell a product which doesn't have a proven market, you're constantly feeling like you're pushing upstream. You're much better being in a more, even if it's a more competitive market, like if you've got a proven product and you can find a little bit of a differentiator, whether that's price, quality, whatnot, then that's probably going to be a much better business strategy approach than trying to find something that's you think is a good idea and you don't have the sales volume to prove otherwise.
Sometimes I can kind of give an example of something. It's so I was looking at a business that kind of sold first aid kits, right? But oh my gosh, that industry is, you can get $20 first aid kits, you can get $200 first aid kits, and like, there's me coming in as someone that knows nothing about first aid kits. I bought one for my car the other day, just to have one for the family. But it's just like the people that are selling them know exactly what should be in them and the quality of products that are in there. They have a very poor way of communicating that to people that have no idea what should be in there. And I think people these days are a little bit immune to reading, high quality, like high quality premium brands. Like everyone says that about everything. You can go on Temu and be like, it could be the crappiest piece of low quality product you've ever seen. It's like high quality premium brand, and it's not. Like people are kind of immune to those kind of marketing words now. But I was looking at their account. It's like the audience that you're trying to attract, even though you're selling first aid kits, they're not looking for first aid kits. When we dig into the data deeper, they're looking for, premium hiking first aid kits, or I was looking at some random words that I never heard. There's like these Molly first aid kits, the I'd never even heard of it. I had to look it up, but they had this keyword had like 50 searches a month. But I'm like, if you can get up for that and put the exact product that these people are looking for, that's such a high kind of intent search term that if they're looking for that and you offer it, there's like a really high chance that they'll buy it and pay kind of the premium price. They're not the people looking for the $25 kits. They're probably the people looking for the 200. So I think when you've got an industry where you sell kind of a generic product, let's use the first aid kits for example. You've got a generic product. You've got a whole audience that's looking for the cheapest first aid kit they can find. You don't want to service that market, even though your whole product range is basically first aid kits. So you need to pivot a little bit and really dive into this. Probably plays into SEO a little bit too, Charles, with the level of keyword research that you kind of need to go into. You really need to understand that higher market that you want to sell to and what they're searching for. Because a lot of the times they're not searching for just first aid kit. They're searching for keywords within that first search of the first aid kit that say that they actually it's really specific for what they're looking for, if that makes sense. So it's a really interesting niche to me, but at the same time, like you need to nail it on all fronts to really do well on there. You need to nail it from the website. You need to nail it from the product page that they land on to. Because if you're trying to sell a premium product and your product page is just the product, like every other product page, without a solid description or full detail around the product, you're just not going to convert. And I think a lot of people that sell things are kind of, in that space. If we think about like the jewelry space, for example, you can buy $100 rings, you can buy like $5,000 rings. If you're trying to sell $5,000 rings for people that are just looking up like the keyword ring, because that's what you're selling, there's not like you're gonna probably be paying a lot of money to just get one sale, and it may not even cover the cost of what the product is. But if you start to present your ad, if you're selling really high quality jewelry to people looking for the style of rock, the set of rock, the shape, the material that's in that ring, so whether it's platinum, rose gold, silver, like if you start to focus on more of the specific searches that would say, hey, this person really knows what they want, and this ring has all those features, or the type of the carat of the stone that's in there, like put it this way, if you've got someone searching for a ring, would you think, yeah, I need to show up this because we sell rings? Or if you've got people searching for, hey, I need a 5-carat diamond engagement ring, and 5-carat is quite large for a diamond, so they might be willing to spend $30,000 plus for like a ring. That's the area that you need to play in. You don't need to go after people searching for these organic or like really generic terms as rings. You need to go after the people searching for, a 5-carat 5 carat diamond, oval gem in a platinum gold, ring. Like, you want to go after those really specific terms because it's exactly what you offer. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. They're like, oh, what's your main keyword? Oh, I sell rings. So I want to show up every time someone searches for a ring. And this is where the crossover between paid and SEO is really strong, because you can build out those pages with a really strong organic, so you can rank for them organically and bring in free traffic. But also, if the page is that good, then it really warrants sending paid traffic to it as well.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is understanding search intent, which crosses over with both organic and paid. Understanding the types of keywords that people are searching and what that actually is going to equate to with regards to the right type of page that they're going to land on. And that's why, I think that's one aspect of, especially an SEO campaign, where AI struggle. A human is far better, in my opinion, at doing the keyword research element of the process. They can use AI to help, but I've tried to kind of to train AI to kind of get a better understanding of the search intent of a page, and in my without I guess being biased, I still feel that I can achieve a far greater level of output versus AI tell me what keyword I want to show up for this page. There is a clear process, and it's actually the simplest thing to do, really. If you want to understand, if you're unsure whether it's the right keyword to go after, then simply just by putting that into Google and seeing what the first, say, 1 to 5 results are, you're going to get a clear indication. Okay, is that, if someone types in engagement ring, is that the right keyword that's actually going to potentially convert to a sale? Or do I need to be more specific? Engagement ring under $5,000, or engagement ring with a diamond, whatever the description is. You need to, obviously, you've got to figure out what is, there is what you're selling, but there's also what people are searching. And you've got to make sure the keywords that you're targeting matches what you're effectively selling and what the customer wants. So those are important things to think about.
I think if you want to go for those top funnel keywords, I think the engagement ring is a really good example for this. So say someone is searching for an engagement ring. I don't want to send them to a product at that point. I'd want to send them to pages that we discussed many, many weeks ago, Charles, like we call them like infomercial pages, where the ad might say, looking for an engagement ring, here's everything you need to know. And then it takes them to a page about what to look for in the ring, what kind of carat or quality you're looking for, what shape stone, what the advantages between like using platinum as the ring compared to like, white gold or silver even. So I think if someone's just searching for engagement ring, that's a really good opportunity to capture someone in the research phase and send them to a page. Everything you need to know about buying hopefully your first engagement ring. So
yeah, absolutely. You're getting them at the beginning of the buyer journey versus trying to get them to land on a product page where they might not be ready to
and
buy.
they just have no idea what they're looking for. At least if you capture them in that infomercial space, you've got a chance to get them to sign up for your email list, and you can nurture them through a sequence. But also, if you're explaining to them exactly what they want, there's almost that opportunity for them to self-select the product that they are interested in, and then you can smash them with remarketing if they visit a particular product page because you know that there's someone interested in that. So yeah, what a lot of people will do, they'll just send them to a category page of engagement rings and they'll just browse through it, and yeah, they don't learn anything. So yeah, there's opportunities at different levels, but that's a really good example for, I think, kind of in information space. On the what you mentioned about the AI and intent, I think it's improved a lot just in the last week. So if you haven't tested AI flows on intent for like the last week, Charles, some of the reports that I've seen for kind of search term reports and AI grouping them, it's been pretty impressive. So I think the last iteration that came out of Claude, I think it's doing a much better job of kind of understanding search intent. So I think, yeah, I think it's nearly there for the AI in terms of being able to use it for those types of use cases. Definitely, it's worth testing at the moment if you haven't tested it even in the last week or so.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely have to check that out. I think it's still, for me, the worry is that, ecom founders are going to think, okay, I'm just going to do the SEO myself. And the problem is when you don't understand the fundamentals of and the process of how to do keyword research and understand search intent, then you're effectively prompting wrong. You're going to give it the wrong inputs and you're going to get the wrong outputs. So I do think that, yeah, it kind of supercharges my and other SEOs experience. And if you've got a little bit of SEO knowledge and you feel competent, then you could probably get away with using these kind of AI workflows. But I think if you're coming from it with little to no experience, then you're probably not going to get the desired result that you want.
Yeah, it's actually, it reminds me, I actually think of all people that said this, I think it was Tai Lopez that said this. He said, everyone thinks AI is going to be the great equalizer, but it's actually going to supercharge people that are already smart. And I think the example that he gave was like, the people that are already smart are using AI at prompt levels that you couldn't even imagine. Um, it's not going to level the field for people that, weren't already that kind of way inclined because they're using AI to search what movie they should be watching this weekend, So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
I think it's true. I don't think it's the great equalizer. If anything, I think it's kind of widened the gap.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think one of the other things that I'm seeing a bit of a worrying trend, especially on say LinkedIn, is you know everyone declaring suddenly that SEO is completely dead and it's all about GEO and AI search optimization. Yes, for sure we are moving in that direction, and I'm sure during 2026 that effectively market share or usage is going to grow against people using traditional Google search. But I think as marketers, often we live in this bubble as well. We don't realize that people still are using search the traditional way. And when we look at the numbers, certainly from what I'm seeing, and I've spoken to a few people this week on LinkedIn that are seeing the same thing, like Google still drives the majority of organic traffic to a site. Versus if you're looking at traffic, just purely on traffic, referral traffic, like there's no question, like Google search versus LLM is it's night and day. Like it's far.
Yeah.
Google search traffic far exceeds that of LLM traffic. Having said that, you also have to think about, well, actually, there's probably a percentage of people, we can't really track it, where they're going on LLMs to do their research first. They're getting what they want, and then they're going to maybe Google at a later date or straight after to then find the brand. So actually, the beginning of that buyer journey started actually on an LLM versus traditional Google search. But I do think, the idea that brands can just completely neglect SEO and then go straight to just GEO, I think is a really dangerous message to be pushing right now. I do think there needs to be
everyone in the SEO space that I speak to, there's like, they put, like their processes haven't changed much for GEO
No,
compared to
no.
SEO. So it's essentially like they've called it something different, but it's essentially still SEO. Like that's how
Well,
I look
exactly.
at it anyway.
There's some there's for sure nuances. There's more of a weight on, certainly on more off-site authority signals. So really, like, basically backlink work. There's a stronger element
exactly.
to that versus optimizing your actual website. But equally, backlinks, building strong authority backlinks for SEO is still has always been an important ranking signal. So, it's just that's the one thing that's been irritating me recently, where you've got people that are coming to this industry that are just selling GEO services, and my worry is, well, yeah, you can get some traction there, but it's not going to be a significant amount of traffic and conversions
Still
to
think
move
Google
the needle.
dominates. I think SEO dies the moment, like the SEO in its current form dies the moment Google replace like the organic search listings the way it has.
Yeah.
I think once that's fully replaced to like, and I think it'll come. I think it will at some point come. I don't know what form it looks like yet, but I think eventually the majority of people, I think eventually Google will prioritize the Gemini over the standard search that they've got currently, and I think it'll get to a point where people will actually have to choose to go back to that search method if they want to. I think Gemini will be the default at some point, and I think that's when we'll see the biggest shift from AI search and like SEO. That's one, because you're right. Primarily, Google drives the most traffic, but the moment that they swap the default to Gemini rather than the standard search that it is right now, I think that's when the tables will turn. And I think for a percent, even though Google still drives like a huge percentage share, I think that Google will still drive that same percentage, but I think it will be coming from Gemini rather than. I don't know what that'll look like though. I haven't actually seen it recently. Does traffic from Gemini come in the search report from Gemini, or does it show as Google Organic?
No, I think it's separate. I mean,
Okay.
the way that I'm tracking it in GA4 is, I think.
I haven't looked at Gemini traffic a lot, to be honest. The one I'm monitoring the most is ChatGPT because it makes up the largest percentage for my clients. But I've noticed every month that it's still nowhere near that. I think this is what you're um, trying to tell people, Charles. It's still nowhere near what Google brings in organically, but the percentage
Percentage
for
is
AI searches is increasing like every single month. So I think I think the turning point for the real SEO is dead people to come out will be when Google swap, and I think it will come when Google go Gemini as the default rather than have it, because when you look at it, but I think they'll use Gemini, but you'll still have the shopping ads and the ads up the top on top of like where Gemini is, because that's their golden goose, which is why I don't think they've swapped the default yet, because the user experience for AI searches is 20 times better than what the standard search is. But Google's golden egg is that advertising, and they'll want to get those ad placements right in how they position it in their Gemini or whatever before they fully make that transition. Otherwise, they're just going to be shooting themselves in the foot, billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's always been the difficult transition, isn't it? Like, I think Google would have been ahead of the AI race if it wasn't for the fact that Google Ads was their bread and butter in terms of revenue. They would have got onto things faster, because their hand was they basically, ChatGPT came along. They thought, oh, they've already had the AI technology, but they were reluctant to change what was already working. like
Yeah.
in terms of Google search with Google Ads on top. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. All I would say is just, when you see people, we increased LLM referral traffic by 650% in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
that
from
might be from
one
two.
user to
Yeah,
six. Yeah.
exactly. 2 clicks to 4. Like
Yeah.
you need to look at the actual real numbers. Having said that, traffic won't be the only metric we're going to be looking at when it comes to LLM, what we class as LLM success, because it's not potentially all going to be about traffic. It's going to be about visibility in some respect, especially if you're going to be purchasing directly at some point within these platforms.
Yeah,
It's
I was just
actually,
about to say
traffic
that.
might not be the number one,
Exactly.
one of the number one ROI metrics that you're going to look at when it comes to the success of your kind of search marketing campaign. So there's a few different variables for sure. But
So like I've only ever offered Google Ads services for the longest time, and I've never really thought about adding anything else. I've considered Amazon just because I like the platform, I like where it's going, market share wise, I like where it's going. But I think enough of my clients have asked me if I'm going to do ChatGPT ads when they come out for me to be like, okay, this is like if I can get on this early when it does come out, especially in Australia or the US when it's launched. I think I would like to explore that. Like, there's not too many. I don't like to jump out from my lane, but the thing is, when I jump out from my lane this time, I'll be doing it when everyone else is just starting too. So it's not like I'm trying to present myself as an expert because I'm not. I'll be testing it with everyone else. And I've said that to my clients. I'm like, I can't guarantee anything when it does launch and when you guys get on because I'll be testing it just myself too. So. But
it's
I think it will be a service that I will offer when it comes out. One, because so many of my existing clients have already asked me whether I'm going to do it or not, and that enough have already said that we prefer to work with you if you do that. So I said okay, like that's kind of validation for me to enough to at least jump in and test it with my own clients, and then if I can drive success on that platform, then potentially open that service to a wider audience, depending on what happens. So who knows what ChatGPT even looks at like in terms of media buying? The client may not even need an ad buyer. It might be so the platform might be so intuitive that they can just tell it what they want to run ads on, and that's it. So unless the business owner is so strapped for time and they want someone to manage it for them, it might be a world where ChatGPT, there's not a middleman needed. So it'll be interesting to see what comes. I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing what it looks like in its early form when it's released. And it's sometimes I'm not the first to jump on trends because if I don't see a first mover's advantage, I won't bother. ChatGPT is different. There's a massive first mover's advantage if you can get some cheap ad inventory in the super early days. And so yeah, there is first mover's advantage in that one, which is what I'm pushing my clients to focus on rather than trying to go after the latest thing where there's no first mover's advantage. You're probably not going to do that well off it. So yeah, if ChatGPT comes with ads, I think it's definitely a service that I'm going to explore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the same from the GEO. It seems to be GEO seems to be the one that the SEO agency are running with now, unfortunately. But I wasn't a big fan of it, but it is what it is. So
I'm glad it's not Elio because well, my son's name's Leo, and the last thing I want is a marketing term named after like a marketing term called Leo. It would annoy the crap out of me. So,
for sure.
Yeah, because Elio was floated a few places I saw early on, and I'm like, oh god, please don't go down that route.
The thing that kind of annoys me is when I saw a report. I think it was from Microsoft, and they were describing like it as GEO/AEO. I'm like, yes, they were kind of describing these two phrases as slightly different. And I'm like, this just confuses things. Just call it one thing and then, move on with it. It's, it's hard enough for people in the industry to understand, let
I
alone,
still just call it AI search, and
yeah,
I
that's
think
what I kind of
I think
tend to
if any of
prefer to
my
talk.
clients were talking about it and you said GEO, they'd have no idea what you're talking about
Well, that's,
yet.
yeah,
I think it's like between us and people in the market space, like it's seen as a common term, but outside of that bubble, I don't think anyone would know what it was. And I still just call it AI search, and I'll probably continue to do that for a long
yeah.
time.
But no, I think, a lot is changing on both the organic and paid. It's something that, I'm doing the same as you are with probably going to be with ChatGPT ads is, I'm starting to execute elements of AI search, like principles into my SEO campaigns for my existing clients. What I'm not doing at the moment is offering it as a dedicated sole service because I just don't think at this stage the ROI is there. And also from an ethical perspective, I don't feel like I should be charging clients based on my own experimentation.
Yeah.
I would much prefer to be like, okay, let me work with my existing clients to figure out exactly what's working specifically for AI search alongside SEO. And then if I want to segment that as a separate service, I can offer that at a later stage.
Yeah, I think that's the difference for a new ad platform. So when a new ad platform comes on, the client knows that they are paying you to experiment on that platform. Because they you literally can't go to anyone with experience because it's a brand new platform. So I think a lot of them are trusting kind of your knowledge in the space and I guess your media buying ability. It's like, okay, I want this guy to go out and test this platform for me because I trust what he's done in other processes. So I think you're right, it's a little bit different for SEO because like when you're on an ad platform, if it's brand new, they know it's brand new, so they're not expecting you to be an expert in week one. So.
No. Well, plus also you can get a far greater, you can get more immediate feedback. You can set up an ad, you can run it, and you can see the ROI. You could be spending, as a GEO expert, you could be spending 6 months testing and trying out things and not actually knowing whether they're going to work or not because it's still a relatively new, platform, algorithm, however you want to call it. So yeah, that's kind of the way that I'm treating it. And then look, I don't think there's anything wrong with offering, these services. I would just be somewhat wary of what that person's experience is. Are they coming from an SEO background or are they just a businessman who sees an opportunity because it's a fresh, brand new market and there's a lot of hype around it to try and extract money from you? So something to bear in mind if you are looking to potentially hire, a freelancer or an agency to help with your AI search strategy.
Yeah, I think let's like we try to keep these to half an hour, but this is a good discussion for this show. But let's recap kind of everything that we've touched on. So start we really I didn't even get into Google Ads fundamentals today. Maybe another show. But I think if you're selling a product that has a wild price range, just making sure you understand the search intent. There's a lot different search intent. Someone searching for a ring versus 9-carat diamond ring in a platinum setting. Like the difference is night and day. So I want you to look at your own business and think, hey, am I just going after these generic terms or am I really have I done enough on my site to like capitalize on these kind of more unique searches that have high volume in terms of they're going to bring in a lot of revenue. Then I think we really looked at kind of some Google Ads strategies, some SEO strategies, but I think the other big point is that I want to really drive home. There is a first mover's advantage. There's going to be a first mover's advantage when ChatGPT ads comes out. So if you are in a business that has the marketing budget to go out and test it when it is launched, get on it as soon as you can. There might be a few little ups and downs, but I think there's going to be a huge first movers advantage on there in terms of how much money you could potentially make very quickly early on by being one of the few advertisers that are actually on there.
Yeah, good points. Good points. Cool, guys. Well, yeah, I guess that wraps up another week for us at E-commerce Marketing Chats. You can find us on Facebook, Shopify Marketing Secrets. We're on all the major platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. So yeah, whether you want to watch us or listen to us, entirely up to you.
If you go to listen to us, it's E-commerce Marketing Chats. So yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week. If you've got any specific questions, join the Facebook group, ask it there, and we'll do a discussion on it. Catch you next week.